Well, thank you so much for being here for our Heartland Challenge information session. Very excited that you're interested in participating. And today we're just going to walk through um, essentially how to get prepared, how to get your application ready, and what to expect for the competition. Deb, I believe, did you want to say a few words?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you, Maddie, first of all. Just wanted to welcome everybody to this information session and to preparations for the Heartland Challenge Startup Competition for 2025. My name is Deb Williams. I am the Senior Director for the Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation at the University of Arkansas. This is our sixth year of the competition, and we're super excited to host everyone in beautiful Northwest Arkansas in April. This competition has been historically an incredible experience for those that end up attending. We have not only do you get the opportunity to pitch and share your business in a million different ways, you also get the opportunity to network and build relationships and connect in our region in a way that hopefully will help you move your business, move the needle on your business, but also connect you in a meaningful way to the burgeoning entrepreneurial ecosystem here. So I'm going to kick it back over. Maddie Strickland is the program manager for the Heartland Challenge, and we're excited to share a little more information with you and also answer any questions you have as we go through. So Maddie, I'll kick it back to you.
Thanks so much, Deb. I appreciate that. All right, so here's our agenda for the morning. So I'll share a little debrief about what the Heartland Challenge is. I'll share some fun facts and results from our 2024, competition. I'll share a little bit about what makes the competition special and unique and valuable to our students. And then we'll walk through the competition details. So all the opportunities that you can expect. Then we'll talk through exactly what you need to keep an eye out for your application and prepare. Then we'll talk through important dates and communication to be aware of, and then we'll open it up to questions. So what is the Heartland Challenge? So the Heartland Challenge is a graduate student startup competition that's really designed to support students that are working on projects or businesses that are either high growth or that are looking to raise venture capital. We provide opportunities for students to share the story of their business in multiple ways. So, of course, there's the traditional semifinal pitch that's like 15 minutes long, and that's the primary the competition that you'll be applying for. But in addition to that, we also offer other competition elements that kind of test your modes of communication and really allow opportunities for the judges and others to give you feedback on your business in very unique ways. So connection is also a really big part of our mission and our goal. As Deb mentioned, we really want to deeply connect you to the community of entrepreneurs that live and work here in Northwest Arkansas and show you that this place could be a great place to do business or to kind of keep in touch with over the years. And then, of course, if you aren't familiar with Northwest Arkansas, we're known for our beautiful natural environment. And so we have quite a bit of outdoor recreation that happens in the area. So not only is it a great place to do business, but it's also a really beautiful place if you get to come see. So really hope to see you guys there. So the Heartland Challenge has been around. This will be our sixth year of competition in 2025. Over the years, we've awarded over $580,000 to various student businesses from around the world. And of the 60 semifinalist teams that we've invited to come participate in person, 62 of those teams are either still active in their business or they have successfully exited from their business. Awesome. And so, what makes the Heartland Challenge so unique and valuable? So, I would say and I kind of spoke to this earlier, but I would say um, one of the most exciting things about the Heartland Challenge is how many different opportunities you do have, not only to communicate the story of your business, but to win prize money. And so you have the semifinal competition, which has the biggest prize pool. And then we have smaller competitions like the Startup Expo and the elevator pitch competition to allow more opportunities for that communication and different ways for you to bring home money. But we also know that the prize money isn't the end all be all, right? And so feedback is really a big part of the competition as well. So after our semifinal round of competition, we provide the judges' feedback to you directly so students can kind of integrate that before they move on to the final round. And actually, in the first round, we also do the same thing. So once you go through the virtual first round of competition, we'll send you feedback from that so you can make improvements to your pitch as needed. And I would say that feedback has been one of the biggest things that students have said has really helped them move the needle with their businesses. Just understanding from other perspectives, what am I not seeing here? What am I missing here to make this a successful business? And then connection. One of our biggest goals, of course, is to get you connected to our region. Our ecosystem has a lot to offer. So if you're not familiar, Northwest Arkansas is home to some Fortune 500s like Walmart, Tyson, JB Hunt. And so not only is there a great retail presence in Northwest Arkansas, but there's also a great amount of entrepreneurs that are innovating around this space. And so it's a very unique entrepreneurial ecosystem that we would love to invite you into and really get you connected into. One of the ways that we do this is through mentorship. And in the last couple years, we have developed an ambassador program where each semifinalist team is essentially matched with um, an ambassador per se. So someone from our Northwest Arkansas community that is familiar with their industry or works within the industry of the student, and they basically get connected before the competition, and the ambassador will basically make um, what's the word? Make introductions on your behalf. So they'll set up meetings for you and help you get connected to the players in your industry here in Northwest Arkansas, hopefully to help you move forward and maybe consider doing business in Northwest Arkansas. So here's a little snapshot from our 2024 competition. Um, Let's see. So this team right here on the bottom middle, this is TILO, and they won the grand prize last year. They are from the University of Minnesota, and they are working on assistive walking devices to make physical therapy more easy for people. And so I believe they are working on getting their assistive walker to market. So they're chugging along and making progress. But as you can kind of see from some of these pictures, you can get a sense of how many different opportunities there are for the presentations, for, networking and connection and, really telling the story. Okay, awesome. So now I'm going to jump into like the nitty-gritty details of the competition. So I'll kind of overview all that you can expect. So as I mentioned, the main competition, this is basically what you're applying for when you submit your application to the Heartland Challenge. So the first step in this is submitting your application. And once that application is submitted, you'll go through an eligibility evaluation. And this is something we do internally just to make sure that you check all the boxes within our rules and regulations and that you're eligible to participate. And then for our virtual first round, this is where our judges will evaluate your application, your executive summary, and your optional video pitch. And I'll break down in the next slide, I'll break down a little bit more of what those mean and what you need to have to get those ready. The third step in this is the semifinals. So from the virtual first round, 12 semifinalist teams will be selected to participate in the in-person competition in Bentonville, Arkansas. And the semifinals, the structure is the 15-minute pitch and a 15-minute Q&A. And so this is what you'll need to prepare if you're selected as a semifinalist. And then throughout the competition, we will basically, semifinalists will compete in different tracks. And then one winner from each track will be moved forward to the finals in addition to a wild card winner. And so 5 teams will move on to the finals, and they are eligible for the biggest prize pool. And then in addition to the main competition, we have several other events throughout the weekend. The first one I'm going to start with is the elevator pitch. And this is a 60-second elevator pitch where one member of each team will present the business concept. And the idea is to convince potential investors that they should schedule a follow-up meeting. The voting for this one actually isn't judge, it's not judge based this time. It's on an audience vote. So this is more of like a people's choice elevator pitch. And there will be two prizes awarded for that one. Then we have the investor roundtables. And this one is a less structured, more casual type experience. If you'll imagine, it's designed to mimic like if you were to run into an investor at an airport and you had a few minutes to chat about your business. How would you do that without slides? How would you do that in casual conversation? And so this one is, let's see, judges award three different $3,000 prizes, so one from each of the three tracks. And so there's another opportunity to get feedback and prize
Can I
money as
just,
well. Go
Maddie,
ahead.
can I add a clarifying question? We had a question in the chat. So,
Yeah.
Maddie's talking about tracks. In the semifinal round, we have four different tracks that tracks is kind of a confusing word. They are not they are navigated by topic or business type. It's more we assign the tracks dependent upon the top teams that are selected. So we select 10 healthcare tracks and there's one healthcare track. We put the tracks together based on the applications and the semifinals teams, and then each of the tracks we try to put the teams together based on the type of business that it is.
Mhm.
If that
Yes.
does that answer your question, man? Yep, got it.
Awesome.
Okay, thanks.
Perfect. Thanks, Deb. And then lastly, we have the Startup Expo. And essentially, each team will have a booth with a 6-foot table, and they can bring marketing materials, they can bring prototypes, as you can see here with Tilo. And essentially, this event is open to the public, so people will come to your booth, come talk to you about your business, and attendees are asked to vote on their favorite business. So a lot of connection, a lot of good mingling going on. And this is one of my favorite events. And I will point out um, some of the most exciting, what would I say, exciting Startup Expo setups are those that have activities with them. And so I would challenge you to think about how to make this really fun to engage the public with. So, a couple of years ago, we had a company called Uncle. They were working on a bike lock, and they brought in some bikes and a bike lock and a traditional, I think it was like a traditional bike lock. And they were basically trying to see how quickly people could cut off the bike lock from the bike. Um, and so yeah, very fun ways to engage with the public. And they ended up winning that year. So just keep that in mind as you're developing your plan. It looks like we have one more question on eligibility. We have two co-founders. Oh, okay. Yeah. So Spencer, this is actually a great question and perfect timing. So in terms of eligibility for the application, the two biggest things we're looking at are the team composition and prior activity. And so, to answer your question, Spencer, you do have two co-founders. So, you would have to have at least two student team members to be eligible to compete. Um, so, let's see, does that disqualify me from pitching? So, if you were only to have one student, you would not be eligible to participate. But if you were, like, if you had two students and one co-founder that was not a student, in theory, you could attend the events but not participate in the competition, if that makes sense. We do allow non-student members to, I guess,
Just for
be there.
clarification, Maddie. Yeah. There has to be two student members, two student
Mhm.
team members. Others can attend. It's just the presenters have to be two student team members.
Got it.
Totally.
Thank you.
Yep.
Awesome. And good question, man. It doesn't necessarily have to be both founders. It could be two members. As long as they're students, only the students can participate in the competition elements.
Yeah, I think the question is about how many people present. Yes, both people have to
Mhm.
present. In the main part of the competition, for the elevator pitch, it's one person. For the investor roundtables are very informal, and You basically have a small amount of time to kind of pitch your business really quick. It's designed to mimic what would happen if you ran into a VC in an airport or a coffee shop, and you just tell the quick story of your business, and then they ask you a bunch of questions, and then ultimately they'll give you feedback on that. But in the different components of the competition, it's different.
Thank you,
Okay,
Deb.
Maddie, go ahead.
Sure. So one other thing that is very important for you to have as a team is a faculty or staff advisor. So your advisor doesn't necessarily have to attend the competition, although we do recommend it. The advisor must review the rules and regulations and make sure that your team basically meets those eligibility requirements. Excuse me. And so they basically accept your bid on their behalf. So make sure to have a staff advisor, a faculty advisor that can vouch for your team. And then this is mostly for businesses that were created before last year. So as of July 2024, if you have earned any revenue or any equity capital that gets close to these limits, just shoot me a message or make sure to let's see, I would definitely include this in your executive summary if you have earned any revenue or equity capital, just so we can keep tabs on your numbers and see if you're eligible within that. Let's see, postdoctorate. Okay, fabulous. All right. And so now I'm going to walk through the individual documents and essentially, what would you call them? The requirements, the content
The application
requirements.
requirements, yeah.
Yes. So the executive summary this is basically the primary document that our first round judges are going to use to evaluate your business. So it is essential that you provide an executive summary that is detailed and really tells the story of your business. So the best advice I can give you for this one is to follow the guidelines that we outline in our rules document. And I'll jump over here in a minute, but basically, the guidelines that are in our rules document, we give the same things to our judges to look for in the executive summaries. So if you can check the boxes um, on those guidelines, you'll be in really good shape. So let's see, I'm going to go ahead and pop over real quick so you can see where to access this. So at any time, you can access our rules and regulations on the Heartland Challenge website. Can you guys see the Heartland website or is it still my slides?
No, you're good.
Okay, awesome. So Heartland website, you can scroll down and click on competition rules and regulations. And then this document, it's hyperlinked. So if you want to quickly go to any section, like eligibility, you can click on it real quick and it'll shoot you down there. But in terms of the content requirements, I would go down to the submission guidelines and really read through these guidelines on the executive summary and the content. So it shares that you need to talk about your opportunity summary. So what's the problem you're addressing? What's the size of the market that you're potentially going into? And how does your solution fit into that market? Detail about the product or service, like what makes your competitive advantage so strong. And then one of the things, it's so interesting to me. I have seen so many different executive summaries that don't really talk about the competitive differentiation, but I would make sure to talk about the competition that exists in your market and how your solution is better than other alternatives. That's something that our judges definitely talk about a lot. Your market and customer analysis. Talk about your management team. Why are you the team to make this startup happen? Financials should also be included, and then the investment. So talk about what funds you're seeking and what you plan to do with those. And then intellectual property, if applicable, let us know the status of that. And that's pretty much the content of the executive summary, but make sure to follow this pretty closely and you'll be in good shape. Now, the video pitch. I know that we say that this is optional, but it is highly, highly encouraged, especially for the first round judges, since they don't really get to see your face. This is the opportunity for you to share your presentation and really let your personality shine through and your expertise shine through. So I would make sure that you focus on content and presentation. It doesn't have to have like a high production value. Just make sure you're getting your points across clearly and succinctly. And you really want to mirror this over what you would do for your elevator pitch at the competition. And again, there are specific tips and things to think about in our rules and regulations. Highly recommend you take the look at those. And then finally, so there's the business plan. And this is only a requirement for our semifinalist teams once they're accepted, once they accept their bid. And this is essentially like a longer expanded version of your executive summary, right? So more like 10 pages of content, more detail about your business. And in addition to guidelines on the executive summary, we also have really thorough guidelines on the business plan as well. D right here. So it goes through bullet points of all the content, very similar. So there's opportunity, what are you selling with your product or service, competitive differentiation, management team, risks, all kinds of stuff. Very similar, but definitely an expanded, more detailed version for our judges to review. All right. Do we have any questions here?
Keep going. I think we're good.
Awesome. All right. So next we have important dates. So as you know, applications are now open on our website. You can go to our website to access the UNoodle and start your application at any time. Those applications are due on January 19th at 11:59 CT. So make sure you're aware of that deadline. Make sure to add it to your calendar. And if you aren't already subscribed to our competition announcements, you should absolutely do so because we will send you reminders ahead of that deadline just to make sure that you get that locked in. So essentially the first round of competition, the virtual round will happen in January, late February, and then we will announce not announce, we will notify our semifinalist teams that they have been invited on February 24th, and then they will have a week to submit the intent to compete. So again, I know I mentioned that the faculty advisor is really important. So on this day, the faculty advisor must confirm that the students are eligible and share that they have an intent to compete at the competition in April. So from the time you accept your wow, that's a mouthful. From the time you submit your intent to compete to the competition, we will be in very consistent communication with you to get hotels locked down and make sure to get all of the details for your competition, or sorry, for your team locked down for the competition. And so you'll just need to pay very good attention to your inbox and make sure to be responsive. On March 24th, the full business plan will be due for semifinalists, and then we will pass this along to our semifinal and final judges to kind of read ahead before the competition to get a sense of your business. And then on April 3rd through 5th, we will invite you to Northwest Arkansas for the competition. All right. Okay. And this is our final Q&A right here. You're welcome to drop your questions in the chat, or you can drop them here at this Slido. But in terms of content, that's all I have. So I would love to open the floor to any questions. How many teams apply? Oh, this is a great question, man. So I believe last year we had 126 completed applications that were submitted. And of those 126, 97 were deemed eligible and moved forward to the first round. And actually, while I have this in mind, one thing we did change this year in terms of our executive summary rule is one-page summaries. So in the past, sometimes one-page summaries have like been acceptable if they have the right amount of information. But this year we have decided to just make it clear that we won't be accepting one-page executive summaries. And that actually ruled out a lot of first round, um, first round teams last year. So I would make sure that you have at least 2 to 5 pages on that executive summary.
And just for clarification on that, there is for all the content that's asked for, again, back in that rules document, to be competitive with the other submissions, provide the level of detail that it's asking for, right? Every competition has their own rules, and some competitions have less maybe of a requirement for an application, but just to make sure that you're competitive, I would make sure you include all of the components and the level. I mean, 2 to 5 pages, you have plenty of space to get the content that you need in there, just to ensure that your application is eligible or is competitive with the others that have applied.
That's a great point.
Other questions too? We can just open it up. If anybody has questions, feel free to unmute.
Sorry, I'm not sure if this was covered already, but wondering what the prizes are for the actual winners at the end.
Yes, I'd be happy to share that. Right. There we go. Okay, so I'm bouncing back into that rules document in the section on prize pool. Okay, so the grand prize is listed here, and that's available to anyone that makes it to the finals. And then all semifinalists are eligible for the elevator pitch, startup expo, and the investor roundtables.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
And if you don't have questions, feel free to log off. But if you do and want to stick around, Maddie and I will hang out.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your interest, and I look forward to seeing y'all's applications.
Sorry, just wanted to pop off on you again. Had another question regarding like the overall, like I think hospitality portion of the event. So is that something that's going to be covered by um like the University of Arkansas, or is that something that the companies have to cover themselves?
Yes, we cover so the hospitality portion, we cover 2 hotel rooms per team. And
Okay.
so the costs of the actual events and the meals and things like that, that is all covered by the competition funds, but transportation to and from and if there's more than 2 hotel rooms needed, then that's covered by the schools.
Okay. Awesome. So the transportation is not covered
Not
from
covered.
you guys. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Awesome. Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Once you arrive to the competition venue from the airport, we'll take care of you throughout the weekend.
Yeah.
You just need to get in and out of Arkansas, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're
Yep.
welcome. Any other questions?
Sorry. Yeah. I'm just like kind of sorry. Go ahead.
No,
I
go
just
for
have
it.
with the when I was going through the application, there's no issues with like intellectual property, but it was asking about a PDF of the signed license agreement or a PDF with a statement that you own 100% of the intellectual property. I was curious what exactly y'all were looking for with this.
Yeah. If the university is involved, if it's a technology that's been developed at a university, the university has any portion of the ownership of it, then that's really the intent of that. If there's other people that own a portion of the technology, that is just basically saying, I have permission from these entities to compete using this technology. It doesn't apply to everybody if it's 100% your technology and you created this, and it's really designed in the event that there's a faculty developed research that someone has built a business off of, and the intent is to make sure that there's authorized approval from that person.
Gotcha. So it is optional if like we
It,
own like the all the IP.
yes, you don't have to submit that then.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
I also I also wanted to ask, do we have like limited number of semifinalists and finalists, no matter the number of like applications?
Could you repeat that question? I'm so sorry.
The question is, let's say that there are like 200 applications for the competition, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then do we have certain set of numbers like for, okay, we're gonna select out of this application like 40 semifinals and 10 of them will be in the final. Do we have this set of number?
Yeah, so the way that it works is we will receive applications. Like Maddie mentioned, I think last year we had 127 completed applications in UNoodle. Of those 127, only 97 had completed the application pool or the packet appropriately and had everything that they needed. And so we have a virtual first round where all of those are evaluated by our first round judges, but it is completely virtual and based solely on the executive summary and the video pitch. It's optional, but it's strongly encouraged. And then the semifinals, we select 12 semifinalists from that pool based on the first round. And we select 2 or 3 alternates just in case something happens. And if then we invite those 12 semifinalists to physically come to Northwest Arkansas on April 3rd through the 5th. From those 12 semifinalists, the main part of the competition, those 4 tracks, we narrowed down the winners of each track go on to a final round. We also have a wild card, so judges can nominate a team that they think that maybe didn't win the track, but that they think is really competitive at that level. So judges can nominate and then they deliberate and decide on who the wild card might be. So we do have 5 semifinalist teams in the final round of the competition. And the wild card, actually, last year was the first year that we did it, and the wild card team ended up winning. So that was definitely a good add on our part. Does that answer question on that?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
You betcha, man.
Yeah, sorry. So just on that part, about the elevator pitch, is that just supposed to be solely like our face and us talking in front of a camera, or
The
is that just like,
recorded, yeah.
yes, the recorded portion, or is there like, should we have like a slide in the background, just like a one slide?
It's totally up to you. I think people have done it both ways. It's not like a
Okay.
traditional elevator pitch competition that you would do, like what we would do in the competition.
Yeah.
I think that it's 60 to 90 seconds.
60.
And people have done it in different ways. People have done it with their product right next to them. People have done it with a
Mhm.
slide in the background. I would recommend, honestly, since it's such a short period of time, I wouldn't rely on a slide. I
Yeah.
would think I would just do it with you.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. And then just one last question. In terms of like the judges itself,
Hmm.
scoring like the first eligibility round,
Yeah.
are they all like industry agnostic, or are they very much business entrepreneurship focused? Like in terms of like,
Um, Keep going.
yeah, like in terms of like, for example, if we have like I guess like a scientific or biomedical technology, should we kind
Mhm.
of simplify it for,
Ye-
I guess, yeah,
General
Yep.
audience.
I think the
Definitely.
answer to that always is, especially in these business plan competitions,
yeah,
you don't know exactly who the judges are. And I think that the
yeah,
intent here is to evaluate the business and not necessarily the technology. So the technology
yeah,
in the first round, they're not going to go deep on that. They're looking for, is this a business opportunity?
right,
Right.
okay,
In the semifinal round, if you're invited to come here, there will definitely be experts in that space of whatever it is. Experts maybe, but really, again, it is your job to
right,
explain that in a way that people like me who don't have expertise can get it, right?
yeah, of course. Yeah, awesome. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah, absolutely, no problem.
All right. Any last questions? And if you do have questions that come up in the future, I'm going to drop the email that you can share those questions at in the chat. So anytime, feel free to reach out. We'll be here for feedback, questions on eligibility, questions about your submission. I'm here for you. So you just let me know. And thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your interest and look forward to seeing your applications.